Did you hit go live?
I did. I
Got it right this time?
I got it right this time.
Way to go.
Welcome back. You have come to the right place. The Miles Franklin Live Q&A. Welcome to the first one of 2026. Andy, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, my man.
How was yours?
It was uneventful.
Mine was pretty eventful.
Sorry, it doesn't get out.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm. The widestream
is not wide enough.
No,
that's okay. We'll get it fixed.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm moving over here. I can't be over there.
That's fine. Okay.
We're all good.
Yeah. So we're still, you know.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect. All right. There we go.
Way to go.
There you go. All right. Perfect. So,
yeah, I mean, it was good, man. I wanted to take some time off. Like, you get burnt when you're doing as much as we are and much as I am. And I wanted to take time off. Didn't work so well.
Well,
I didn't do any podcasts, which was very cool. But I was on the phone, it seemed, the entire holiday.
Well, I mean, I think, as you know, I left for the Dominican Republic on the 23rd. It was supposed to be a family gathering with about 18 of us. It was a gathering of 18 of us, or I should say 17 of us, because for the 7 or 8 days that I was there, as you know, I was holed up in my hotel room. So the vacation that I thought was going to be a vacation, not so much a vacation, but there's always this year.
There is.
You know, and if the beginning of the year is any indication as to what we can anticipate going forward, yeah, I guess there's enough time to sleep when we're dead, right?
It's crazy. It's a blessing on one hand, and on the other hand, people don't quite understand. Now, I took a vacation with you to Aruba, and you and I spent the entire time in the hotel room. So, look, I'm not complaining at all, but I wanted to actually. I feel really bad about this. You know, my wife and kids were out of town and I was all alone. Do I look broken up? I am. Inside, very broken up. But I wanted to at least... Are you wearing lipstick? Are you going to come say hi this time? Well, I wanted to actually take some time off, but I didn't, because when it's your time, it's your time. And things are happening, Kevin, honest to God, man, things are happening at a level that...
it's unprecedented. It truly is unprecedented. And we'll get into it, because there's so much to get into, and I actually feel badly that I believe I'm so ill prepared for today, because
don't worry.
Literally from the time that I landed back on U.S. soil, I have not had 2 seconds to myself, to my wife, to my kids, my daughter. I was actually on the phone. I took my daughter to the airport. I was supposed to take my daughter to the airport, but then I forgot that she was going to Palm Beach, and I was already on my way down to Fort Lauderdale. So I was late. So I just dropped her off, Ubered, because I was on the phone with the client putting a very big order, and she understands. But it's been nutty. I will say that I think that we were right on track going into 26. I mean, our calls for where we ended the year, it exceeded my expectations, what I thought. And then I think on that one day, the crazy day, which we didn't have any podcasts going on, that would have been a great day, when we kind of caught up to Shanghai, and we popped into the $84 range, was kind of nuts.
It was one of the craziest days of my career, actually. And we'll be back there again. Don't you worry.
No, I don't doubt it. Not the least bit.
I want to take questions tonight, because that's really what this is about. But I will say to you that what we saw happened. You know, one of the things people have said to me is, is this the end of the rally, because it got knocked down? And, you know, the playbook that the CME group has used for a long time is to raise margins. And when you talk about how that went down, there have been 2 margin hikes in the past 2 weeks. Margin would be, prior to the margin hikes, if you had $21,000 in your margin account, just cash sitting in an account, that would give you the ability to go on margin and control 5,000 ounces of silver.
Right.
One contract. $300,000 of silver at $60, you know, with 21,000 in your account, That's some nice leverage. Well, they hiked the margins twice. The second time by 30%, the first time by like 10 or 12%. A big hike, right? And normally that just destroys the rally, and it has in years past. Literally kneecapped it, never came back. You look at 2011, they raised margins, and it took, what did it take? 15 years to come back. Not this time. So let's talk about what it did, because what that means is, and the second one was on December 26th, so the day after Christmas, you got a margin call where they said, listen, if you don't deposit 30% more margin, and again, you're only talking what, $3,000 or whatever, but if you have, a dozen contracts or more, you got to come up with that money, 36,000 right now, boom,
Right.
or they will liquidate your and unwind your account. So you have forced liquidations. If you have 30 contracts, maybe you got to sell 10 of them to cover. Well, that selling drops the price, which creates more stress on people who are on margin.
And not to interrupt you, but most of the time, that is what people do. They don't come up with the cash. They actually
sell,
liquidate
right,
what they have to formulate the cash to cover the call.
Right.
And that selling,
even if they have other
selling.
positions,
Correct.
the selling begets selling, begets
Correct.
more margin calls, and that's what they're hoping for. But I'm going to explain to you what that. First of all, that's called shaking the bushes, right? These are the big institutional banks and traders that say, "Ha, these guys think they're so smart, they can't play in this sandbox. Their checkbook's not big enough. So let's just squeeze them with raising the margins. Maybe we'll short the price, drive it down a little bit, and they will force liquidate," which it did, and you saw that. And you have the big boys and girls sitting there with their hands wide open like this, saying, "Thank you very much. I will stand for delivery. I'll take all of that on the cheap." But I want to make an analogy. I went to lunch last week, as you know, with an owner of one of the Major League Baseball teams. Very, very wealthy man, happens to live within one or two houses from both Alicia Keys and Mark Wahlberg. And this neighborhood, the houses start at $30 million. Now, do you think that these people care what mortgage rates are? They have no inclination to ever use a mortgage when they're spending $40 or $50 million on a home. They just pay for it in cash. Well, it's the same thing here, right? In some of the other neighborhoods, raising the mortgage rates will kill the real estate property, because so many people are reliant on a mortgage to buy a home. But at a level where it's cash, at that level where you're talking sovereign nations, where you're talking Tesla and Samsung and Sony, and you're talking the photovoltaic solar panel makers, so you're talking big money. They don't care about margin. So when the price gets hammered by the smaller people that are on margin, you have these guys sitting right here, and what do you know? Silver's climbing back up again, and this is what we would expect to see. I think in this market where they are shaking the bushes, pulling out all of the weak hands or those on leverage, but nothing's changed. Nothing at all. At the same time, before we get into questions, let's just talk about what's happening right now. You have what's called the January effect, where you have hedge funds that need to redeploy money. So we would expect that to be very bullish. Anytime the West tries to step on the price, you have Asia sitting there saying, "Thank you very much, I will buy it." They're buying. There's a what's called an arbitrage spread right now between the U.S. and China, where China's price is substantially higher than it is here. So you get the trader say, "Well, geez, if I were to buy it here and sell it there, the physical, buy the paper here, sell the physical there, I'll make a lot of money." And they do. That physical never comes back, by the way. And then on the other side, which could create volatility, we have rebalancing, right? Silver has gotten so far out of whack, and gold, with allocation models, the Bloomberg commodity index. They'll have to revalue, because gold and silver have become inordinately outsized in terms of their weight in the portfolio. So they're like, "Damn it, I really don't want to sell that, but I have to legally." Well, guess who's going to be sitting there waiting to gather it up at pennies on the dollar or whatever, and that will be all of the big traders who have been doing this for the last 13 months. And one last thing, just talking about the 13 months and all of these deliveries, there's one thing that I just want to mention, and we'll talk about deliveries as people ask about them. But If we look at just in the first 3 days of January, the first 3 days of the January delivery, by the way, December was an all-time high, record high for deliveries in December, 62.875 million ounces, 62,875,000 ounces of silver, all-time record high for December. 12,575 contracts stood for delivery in December. Well, what about January, right? Well, let's look at
That's
January.
about 10%, almost 10% of the annual
It's insane,
that we
dude.
do every year.
Now let's look at January. So far in January and I read this last night, so it would be 4 days now, but with only three delivery days old, there have already been 4,249 gold contracts plus 3,596 silver contracts issued and stopped. That means they're being delivered. That's 424,900 troy ounces of gold times 4,200. You're like, what, 1.6 billion or something? And 17,980,000 ounces of silver in 3 days. Wow. You're talking 18 million ounces of silver. This is all you need to know. That's it. The biggest money in the world is right here saying, yeah, bring it in, 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 bring it in. Forget about the noise. Don't be distracted by the noise. It's going to be volatile like a heart monitor because of the January effect, because of the rebalancing, because of the shorts that are trapped, because of all of this and the systemic contagion nature. And if it's true what we're hearing about the JP Morgan letter that just came out and the Morgan Stanley letter, which both would make sense to me.
We should talk about that.
We will.
Yeah.
We will. And let's get some questions.
Yeah.
That's all you need to see.
I just want to.
Biggest money in the world doesn't do this for shits and giggles.
And by the way, little by little, and then all at once, silver has become the third largest asset in terms of market cap. It's like that.
That's why I like the little by little, because people say to me, well, why didn't the Chinese and the BRICS nations, why wouldn't they just buy it all? Because you cut off your nose to spite your face. But if you do it little by little, here and here and here and here and all over here and over there and through proxy banks, and don't do too much, don't become obvious, then all of a sudden that little by little becomes all at once.
Well, there's one elephant in the room that has little by little, and then all at once.
What's that?
Well, we're talking about JP Morgan, about what we're talking about, a little bit of a bait and switch, I think a lot of people are really calling it. And look, there is so much information. I'm sure that many of our viewers
I don't know if if we're talking about the same JP Morgan memorandum.
No, we're talking about different, but I'm talking about what we were hearing last week with regard to the Asian guy AI.
Okay, well, I went back. And forget about Mr. Asian guy, because I think he's great.
By the way, it's hard to forget him because he's everywhere.
Well, I've never seen anything like it, but I think he's listening to a lot of us, because he's quoted me without mentioning my name. He's quoted Bill Holter. He got into a fight with the economic ninja. They're going back and forth, and so he's watching, he's listening, and maybe it is AI that's gathering all of this information. But that article I talked about 3 weeks ago before we went on vacation, the Economic Times had an article, to your point, what you're talking about, saying JP Morgan flip-flopped. They're now net long. They've covered a 200 million ounce short position. They bought 21 million ounces of physical in 6 weeks, and the rest of the U.S. banks are more or less long. Now, this would fit hand in glove with what Tom Luongo says, that Tom Luongo has a very interesting fresh take, saying that Trump is out to get the European aristocrats. Now, again, this is Tom's view, and I think it's compelling, that he thinks they're responsible for the election interference and the color revolution that we saw in the previous administration, which would have all been, in his mind, out to keep him from taking office. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, if that is the case, wait till you hear what the Asian guy said today about JP Morgan.
I didn't get to listen to him today.
Okay, well, first of all, if the U.S. banks are net long, first of all, he came out the other day and said Morgan Stanley had leaked a memorandum telling all of their institutional traders to close out all silver positions by the end of the month. All of them.
Both long and short.
Yes.
Okay.
Get out. Now, I don't know how I feel about that one, but there is one today, and he says it's validated and verified. Now, I can't verify it, but he said JP Morgan says exit your positions by January 31st. After that, we will no longer allow delivery. We will only go to allocated cash settlement. So they've always had an allocated model of cash settlement. They also have segregated, where they would allow for physical delivery. Now, I guess that would also be the COMEX contracts. They're basically saying get out of all your positions because JP Morgan will not allow physical delivery after January 31. Now, is this true? I don't know, but let's take a step back and say if Tom was right, and the Bank of England, the LBMA is supposed to be a T+1 settlement. T is trade day plus 1 is the settlement. On the third day, the bars should be moving to you. Well, no, it's T plus 8 weeks, they said most of last year because there's a shortage of manpower and trucks. Right. That's right. And I can dunk a basketball too. So the point of it is, with 2 knee surgeries, by the way, and the point of it
Soon
is
to be 3.
Yeah, soon to be 3.
That's right.
And the point of it is that I think that there are things that are happening right now. If Tom is right, then you're looking at potential, and these letters are real. What it's basically saying is that the LBMA or the COMEX is going to experience a force majeure or some sort of a systemic moment by the end of the month. And if Morgan Stanley supposedly, Eric, where are you?
Supposedly.
Right. If they both are saying this by the end of the month, what they're saying is that there's systemic risk, there's contagion, there's counterparty risk, because these contracts all have an opposite side. For a long, there's a short, and one of the other side is going to get blown up, which will bring down the whole house of cards. They're saying get out.
So here, because I want to get to the questions, but I think that there's a good deal of questions that wrap around this. If that's the case.
By the way, nice vest.
It's
kind of plain today.
Well, it's a little holiday gift, you know. Someone thought so nicely to buy me a holiday gift.
Well, that's
nice client of ours.
Way to go.
This is what I was saying. If all of this is in fact true, and there's a couple other things that I want to bring up to see if that you can potentially validate if you found this in your studies, what is that going to do to the ETFs? Because that's a big question everyone's got. I don't own silver. I don't own gold. I own the paper.
Yeah. So
what's that going to do?
It wouldn't do anything really to the ETFs, but maybe make the price go higher, because in the ETFs you can't take possession of the metal anyway. And I think people who own ETFs, if they really understood just how bad they are, if you own GLD or SLV, read the prospectus. And I once did a presentation, I don't know, a dozen years ago in Los Angeles, and I studied the prospectus, and I don't know if they've added to it, but it was pages 6 through 12 titled risk factors. And there are things within the risk factors that massively distance the custodian, JP Morgan and BlackRock, from any liability, such as the custodian has the right to use sub-custodians, but is not responsible for the errors and or omissions of sub-custodians, can't visit the premises of the sub-custodians where they're storing the metal, and if the bars that they are storing do not meet London Good Delivery Standards, 400-ounce gold bar, could be a lead bar painted gold. Well, it's not JP Morgan's fault. And the worst part about it is that if they do discover a fraud, they close the account that day. They lock it down. So they would lock it down February 1st, and they do an investigation. And if it takes till next February to resolve the legalities of it, in the meantime, the price has gone up fourfold. It says in the prospectus that you will be paid at the value at the date that the fraud was discovered. At the same time, you can't take possession of the metal. At the same time, you're taxed at the 28% collectible rate, capital gains.
Don't forget the fees.
And you're paying BlackRock and JP Morgan a 40 basis point management
minimum, 40 up to almost 60 to 70 on it. Here's the other thing that I wanted to ask you, and then we can get to the questions. But
don't own SLV and GLD.
There you go. You heard it here first.
One last thing. You can store metal in our Brinks facility for less than you are paying BlackRock and JP Morgan a fee, and you have physical ownership with a segregated account that is audited and validated and verified. Why would you want to own a paper product at the same rate that you can never take possession of versus a segregated account in one of our 8 Brinks facilities that you can take possession of, plus the storage that you pay in any storage account is tax deductible. It goes to the cost basis. So if you had $100,000 in a Bring storage account and pay $1,000 a year in storage, at the end of year one, your cost basis goes to $101,000 from 100, $102,000 the second year, 100. So it becomes tax deductible when you sell it off. There's no reason to own that crap.
Yeah. And this is the only thing I wanted to ask, and then we'll get to the questions. Did you hear there was something on Twitter last week that Bank of America and Citi combined were short 4.5 billion ounces of silver?
No, I did not hear that.
Yeah, I think I sent it to you on the text, which means that it would take almost 5.5 years if they actually accumulated all of the metal every single year that it's mined, which of course they can't do, to cover that position.
Well, one of the deliveries this year, which is very interesting because the way that the system would work forever, and I'm going to talk about Citibank here.
I'm going to talk about your wife telling me to move left, then move right, then move left, then move right.
And she was telling me to move left at the beginning too.
And if the camera
she won't even come on.
If the camera had actually caught me just doing this, it was looking like I was doing like this.
So these banks, the way that it would work is that they would short the paper price. There's 8 banks. And here's another thing you only need to know. All right, let's just make this easy. Why have I been able to say this stuff with such authority or sincerity or whatever? I mean, look, ask yourself this. There's about 1,000 commodities traded on COMEX thereabouts. Why have 8 Western banks, 3 or 4 or 5 in the United States, a couple, 2 or 3 in Europe, maybe 1 in Canada? Why have they maintained the largest concentrated short position for, I don't know, 20, 30 years of any commodity ever traded in the history of the COMEX? Concentrated short position by these same banks in this tiny little market of silver. Why? That's all you need to know. Why? Because something is far more important about silver than they're letting us believe, and maybe it is the military-industrial complex, as I have waxed eternal forever about, or other reasons. Well, set that aside for a moment. The way it would work was that they would short the paper price in New York, which drove the price down, and to offset their book, they would take a corresponding long position in London, right, which didn't affect the price, and they would trade what's called warrants back and forth, which would be, yeah, now it belongs to me. No, now it belongs to you. Now it belongs to me. And they would go back and forth. And sometimes bars would go back and forth to create this illusion of liquidity and of volume. But more or less, they were capping the price of gold and silver forever. These banks were in concert together. And it's breaking. You can see it. It's breaking in London. It's breaking here now because the folks in the global south figured out, well, if we stand for delivery, the whole thing breaks. No one's ever challenged the West. These countries like China, Saudi Arabia, India, Russia, all of these countries acting in concert, they've become sophisticated, coordinated, motivated, wealthy, and they're standing for delivery. It's breaking right now. But here's the point. These banks acted in concert together. And if Tom is right, and the administration is setting up the European banks to blow up, to get back at the European aristocrats that he thinks is behind all the trouble that led up to this last election. This is interesting. And it says that Deutsche Bank gave up the other day. It says Deutsche Bank issued 654 contracts to 2 banks. And physical, they had to give up the physical, which they don't like to do ever. They gave up 654 contracts, which is 3.27 million ounces. And let's see, that's actually more than that. I'm sorry. They gave away 884 contracts, 2.26 million ounces to JP Morgan, to a client's account, to not their house account, to a client. So they're doing it on behalf of someone else. And 432 contracts, which is 2.16 million ounces, to Citigroup's house account. So the bottom line with all this is that when the smartest, best connected institutions in the silver market are choosing to hold physical themselves rather than trust future availability, it is a very, 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 very big deal. Citigroup is taking house silver. JP Morgan is facilitating large customer demand for physical silver. But the bottom line is that The institutions closest to the metal are now prioritizing control over deliverable silver or of deliverable silver instead of future promises. And when they're taking it from their cohorts in the last 50 years of suppressing the price, in essence, they're cannibalizing each other right now. They're breaking ranks is what it looks like. And I think it's a very big deal. To your point, Citibank is on the other end of that, trying to clean up their act, maybe.
Yeah, let's get to a couple of questions. There's a couple that keep popping up. Number one, everyone's talking about the Asian AI guy, so we'll get to that. Excuse me. First one, at Kathy Piscitello at 3369. How will the Venezuela takeover affect spot market silver and gold here in the short term?
I don't think it will. And, a lot of people say, well, they have this huge stockpile of gold and silver. What did the U.S. government just say silver was? It's a critical mineral. Okay, it's a critical mineral. Do you think they're going to let any of that get out into the open market? Hell no. And I would say, what happened to Gaddafi's gold? What happened to Saddam Hussein's gold? How about the $12 billion in gold that was sold by the Ukraine to fund the war that they openly talk about? So, I would say at this stage of the game, if that is what they did, and we don't know that they took any of their gold or their silver, we don't know what they did. Now, as far as the oil is concerned, I don't like the way that they went and did this. And, you ask some of the valets at our country club from Venezuela, they will tell you they're thrilled that it happened. But I don't like being the policeman of the world. But regardless, you could argue that to come in and take over their oil deposits, we have some right to do so. Why? Because it was the Western companies that built the entire infrastructure and had deals in place. And when Maduro took over, those deals were scrapped, more or less. So they're saying, well, you stole from us, basically. And they have an argument there, right? So they're not changing the regime, which is something that I think is important here. They haven't done regime change. Supposedly the vice president, who there is some questions around this person too, but I think that the vice president is going to take power for now. They're not toppling the regime. They're just pulling him up because they say he's a narco guy. But
she said that she believes that he should be back in power, and Trump said that if basically he defies it, then it'll be very bad for her, worse for her.
Well, and they came out and said the same thing about Colombia and Mexico, and who knows? And
topics for a different show, though.
Yeah,
right?
Well,
I don't think. Look, today was day one.
If I were gonna say it from a 1,000-foot view, I would say there are two things that I find interesting. Number one, Venezuela applied to the BRICS. Venezuela has the largest known reserves of oil in the world, and they want to sell them in yuan. Well, what people should also think twice about and say, what about what's going on in Nigeria? Nigeria also wants to join the BRICS. They have formally applied. They're the largest producer of what in Africa? Oil. And what do they want to do? Sell for yuan. Do you see the common thread here? Now, the Christians have been persecuted for a very long time in Nigeria. Why now are we going to do this? Is it have to do with the fact that both of these countries are massive oil producers and want to sell in yuan and have joined and have applied to join or requested to join the BRICS? I wonder. I'm just saying, think outside the box. What happened to Gaddafi? Well, he wanted to use the gold dinar. They were going to issue a golden dinar that would allow them to sell oil in this new golden dinar. And what about Saddam Hussein? He wanted to use oil sales in euro. And, well, they put an end to those two regimes. So I'm not saying that this is what it is, but is it? I don't know. Food for thought.
Yeah, food for thought. All right. So next, we're seeing a lot of talk about this. I wanted to be clear. At Lira May 8570, all capital. Tennessee is doing a joint venture with a Korean smelter. Have you heard, and do you have any comments on it? Hold on. You know that's coming.
Hey.
You know it.
I
got the article up here.
what they're basically doing is issuing a they're building the capacity to refine metal, because China, who just shut off not all, but shut off a good portion of their exports, is the largest refiner of metals in the world and rare earths in the world, the largest. They refine roughly 90% of all the rare earths and between 60 and 70% of silver. And so, what would traditionally happen is a lot of this doré would flow to China and be refined and then sent back. But when a country like China, who, there's a race to secure this stuff now, is responsible for refining 90% of it, across the globe, yeah, you got a problem. So that's what they're doing. They're, look, a lot of what President Trump is doing for this country, God bless him for doing it. He has a very, let's just say, unconventional way of communicating and doing certain things. But you could argue we are at the stage of the game where you can throw conventional out the window.
Yeah.
And some of these things just need to be done to secure a future for our kids. We cannot rely on the rest of the world for all of these things that we need that are critical to our infrastructure. And it's overdue and about time that he made silver a critical mineral. And that's just one of many on the critical mineral list. You can have all the critical minerals in the world. If you can't refine them, you have to send them to your foe, or certainly someone you're in a global competition to accumulate this stuff. You really want to send it there to be refined, or are you going to do it yourself? That's what this is about.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a couple more, because there's a couple of things that we're going to have to get to that we've been asked. I know I was asked all day today, over the weekend, in terms of supply and demand issues. So at Robert Hutchinson 8416 said SD Bullion sold 100 million in the last 16 hours last weekend. That's a lot. We could have supply issues soon. Care to comment? Not on SD Bullion sales, but care to comment on supply issues potentially?
I've been saying it forever, and everyone thought I was full of shit talking my book. Oh, yeah, right. You can find it everywhere. SD Bullion selling and JM Bullion selling. Yeah, right. So, I don't know if I believe that number. I think they are a massive company, but that's an awful lot of business too. Maybe it is. Maybe they did. I shouldn't say that. That's not right of me to say.
It's a lot of metal.
I can tell you that we did just under $1 billion in sales last year. So it's possible, but that's a whole year. So maybe they did. It was a very busy week.
I mean, look, I know between you had some extraordinarily large orders and I had some very large orders that came in midweek last week.
That's a lot. I mean, we did do a lot. It's possible. Look, if we were 24/7 online, did you just do that?
No, I went like this.
Well, I don't know. But look, that's neither here nor there.
And by the way, that's not the point that I'm trying to make. I want to really talk more about the supply issues. It's ridiculously hard to get stuff all of a sudden. You talk about bars, and I mean no disrespect to SD. They're good people. Tyler's a good guy. I got nothing bad to say about them. Maybe it's true. Probably is. So anyways, look, as far as bars mostly come from two places. Canada, the Royal Canadian Mint, and Switzerland. Now, there are some that come from Australia and stuff, but some U.S., but not really much the private refiners. But the name brand are Swiss. Argo Herreris, PAMP, Valcambi, Metalor. These are the primary ones, and Royal Canadian Mint, right? Engelhard doesn't make them anymore. Johnson Matthey sold to Asahi, which is here, even though they're a Japanese company. I believe they manufacture in Utah. But the point is, because of tariffs and or the threats of, no one imported these bars. And so bars have become more expensive than they should be, and just about everyone in the country is out of them. You look at Silver Eagles, there's no one in the country really with any substantive amount other than 2026s, and those are selling out fast. All of the stuff I've warned about is happening. And at this point of the game, I have no interest in being anything but completely forthright and truthful. I'm not going to get in front of millions of people over time on these podcasts and say anything to talk my book. I will tell you, I've seen it over and over and over again where product disappears, never in an environment quite like this. And then you add into it states like Florida and Texas who have passed precious metal legal tender laws. You have constituents in these states that are very wealthy that are waking up. And this market will be defined in two ways: by your friends out there who don't own any. They'll say, damn, I should have listened to you, and it's too expensive to buy now. But to all of you who want to buy more, you'll say, damn, it's hard to get, and the delivery delays suck, and the premiums are high, and boy, that's what's going to happen, because it's the pimple on the elephant's ass, the amount of gold and silver that is out there.
The elephant has no idea. Wait till the elephant turns around and says, oh, well, you need some too. It's gone. It'll be gone. Like that. I know that triggers you, Jana, but I'm sorry. It will be gone. There just isn't enough. And that's my old friend Rick Rule always says, that the amount of gold and silver owned by the public, including equities, from Joe and Jane Sixpack to the Harvard Endowment Fund, who, by the way, did just buy a few $100 million in gold and silver, the Harvard Endowment Fund, is less than 0.5% in terms of allocations. And it's already this hard to get. Wait, just wait. And I say that to you because there will also come a point where folks in Australia will say, what the hell are you selling and sending our silver and gold to North America for? And the UK will say the same thing. And so too will South Africa. And so too will Canada. And everyone will start to prioritize either nationalization for their own sake or for their own people. And so, yeah, I've been begging people to buy stuff while premiums were cheap. And, you know, people who make money, like Rick Rule, will tell you the most money he ever made was buying stuff that was wickedly undervalued and nobody wanted. Well, what did nobody want? Well, what's been the best performing asset? How many people told me that I was a fool in the comments for recommending silver when it wouldn't get above $25 an ounce? And where are they now?
Yeah, you were shilling.
Yeah, I'm a shill. I was a shill. Where are they now? These idiots, they don't have the balls to say I was wrong. They don't have the class or the courage to say it. And they don't have the class or the courage to sit up here and say what I say to the public every single day from my soul. And I'm telling you all, from my soul, this market will be defined by the inability to source product readily.
And we're getting there. I really do think. And by the way, a shout out to Michelle McCory. Michelle just texted me, said she's actually awake in Johannesburg right now, and then I should move over to the right. So Michelle,
say hello to Mom, Michelle.
How are you?
I have yet to.
We missed you. Happy New Year, and we very much look forward to seeing you again when you get back.
One of the greatest things that's ever happened to our company is bringing Michelle on board. I couldn't be happier. And Happy New Year, Michelle.
Brilliant mind, that's for sure. All right, let's get back.
Me or her?
Oh, definitely not you. No, you know what you are. I know. But which one do you want? You either get the smartest dumbest or the dumbest smartest. I'm going to let you choose.
She's got it all.
Because I'm going to make a shirt.
I don't want your shirt.
No, I know. I'm going to get the shirt.
Well, if you get a shirt, I'm going to get a shirt.
It's going to be. It's going to be
my shirt.
It's going to be an arrow pointing here, and it's going to say the dumbest, smartest person I ever met, or the smartest, dumbest person I ever met.
Just because I forget to zip up my zipper or have tags hanging out
every single round.
So what? I miss a belt loop. So what?
By the way,
there's too much stuff going into my brain to help everyone, including you.
Where's camera 2?
For me to figure that's camera 2 over there.
Camera 2. Okay, I am telling you. Every single solitary round of golf, he walks up to the tee, his zipper is down, and he has the tag from his shorts sticking out the back of him. I don't even know, but I don't even know how it's actually
Well, first of all, as far as the zipper, I'm not going to be gratuitous. It's Florida. I like, a little bit of
air conditioning. I get it.
Yeah.
The tag in the back is what truly gets me. I don't know how.
I don't know
possible. Either. You tuck in and yet
here's what's happening. As I'm getting dressed in a hurry because I've just got off a podcast and I need to get there and I'm thinking and I got this to do and that to do and this to do. I go, oh God, I got to read that tonight, and I'm getting dressed and I'm for shimmeled.
But at least you don't pick up the phone when you play golf.
Sometimes I do. Not like you.
And you know exactly how to get my game too.
The minute you do,
you tell John. Give him the calls. Give him the calls.
I mean, the minute you pick up the phone,
I'm done. I'm finished. And you know that. I know.
And I am too. You can't do it.
It is. It's.
But I wanted to do that this last 2 weeks. I needed for my own sanity.
I couldn't.
I needed to because it's been a lot, man.
It's been more than and it's a blessing and a curse. And I thank God it's a blessing that we're in this business. It's going wonderfully.
Someone recognized you at the hockey game, I heard.
They did, yeah. We went to I brought my son to the hockey game last night. He
invited me to go to the hockey game too. He would have recognized both of us.
Well, he did. He said, actually, I was walking right through the arena and I heard, "Hey, Tattoo, where's your vest? Say hello to Andy for me." It was almost like that Mark Wahlberg, Saturday Night Live. "Hey, how's your mother? Hey, tell your mother."
I would think of all places you would wear a vest would be at the hockey arena where it's freezing.
Well, that's why I had a sweatshirt on and a jersey, yes, with a sweatshirt underneath, and I broke my curse.
They finally won.
They won. They won.
I think you
Yeah.
should get a jersey and have a tattoo on the back.
I would do that. Instead, mine has Bobrovsky, but you know. All right, let's get back to some questions. All right, this one I know you're not going to answer, so I'll go out on a limb. Barbarios 89.95. What is your price prediction for this year?
I'll just make it easy and say well over $100 on silver, and that will be a low price. If I had, and I hate doing that.
I know
right?
you do.
I hate it because I've never thought about price when I accumulated. Just I've always known in my soul, Kevin, honest to God, I swear to you, I've always known that it's going higher. I can't tell you, some people, I don't know. I mean, honestly, and I'm not trying to sound anything. I'm not trying to sound mystical, or I can only tell you that in my soul, I've always known that I was supposed to do this. I have always known that buying gold and silver every 2 weeks for me, which I've never missed ever in 36 years, what I was supposed to do it. I can't explain it to you.
Well, listen, and I give you,
but I swear to God, that's the truth.
I give you a tremendous amount of, within reason, compliment. We as a company, we never sell our metals via fear or greed. Never. And I think that if any of your brokers ever really did do that, you'd be extraordinarily unhappy with them.
Doesn't mean I'm not scared, and it doesn't mean I don't like it when it goes higher, but I'm scared for the world my kids are growing up in.
Agreed.
And I think it's hard but it's also not as fun to spend the money that you've made in this industry when you look around the world and see what's going on.
Correct. And I will say, I know that you don't generally go out on a limb, but me, who is very anal, very OCD, and very,
Really?
Yeah, to say the least, and very thoughtful with numbers and how I go about the mechanics of things. When somebody asks me where it's going, or take my father-in-law who says, it's already had its run, and I look at
Don't put me in a room with
No, I know, but I'm saying, even when I hear things like
like
that,
being
and I say, okay, if I look at silver to date, forget gold even right now, because gold's had an enormous run, silver's had an enormous run, but relative to where we were 45 years ago, silver's done shit.
Well,
it's done nothing. It's
because
up 40%.
they've never been allowed to experience price discovery because of Western suppression. And your father-in-law, who's a lovely man, I love you, Barry. I do, and I love your son and your daughter and your whole family. But I respectfully disagree, right? Would the equity market be where it is if the Fed didn't pump in from 2008, when their balance sheet was 800 million or 900 million, to 9 trillion? All of it in treasuries to suppress interest rates and mortgage-backed securities to create an illusion of strength in the real estate market? No, it wouldn't. And so has it had its run? Well, why have 8 Western banks suppressed silver to the degree of it being the largest concentrated short position of any commodity ever traded in the history of the COMEX market? Why? And why was there the London gold pool? And why do banks continue to suppress gold? Because they wanted gold, was because of Gibson's paradox, the environment where you suppress interest rates to create an illusion of prosperity through your 401k and your equity index going higher in a suppressed interest rate environment, and your bond portfolio going higher, you're a bond guy, Barry, in a suppressed interest rate environment. Well, you need to kill the canary in the gold mine, that's gold. You take that out of the equation, it's breaking now, because what no one has ever done to the West is stand for delivery, and that is breaking the game.
Yeah.
Period. And so when we say it's had its run, no, it's just getting warmed up, because it's going to be allowed. It's a beach ball underwater. You move your hand for 1 second, it takes your chin off, and that is where we are going, because it's never been allowed to find its real price discovery, because the West, who has ruled the roost for hundreds of years, has had to maintain an illusion of supremacy through suppressed interest rates to make asset prices go higher when you offshore your manufacturing. We don't make anything anymore. So how do you make people feel rich? Their 401k. How about turning your house into an ATM for all those years with lower and lower and lower and lower interest rates? You can take home equity loans, pay less on a little bit of a longer mortgage, and take all that money and go buy 2 wave runners, take a trip to Europe and buy a new car and pay less, but you owe more debt. And that is what has happened. So to the mainstream who says stuff like that, they say it, they're educated, they're misinformed.
Yeah, by the way, great analogy with the beach ball.
Thank
Love that. Never heard that one from you before. Love it. Probably
you.
going to steal it from you.
It's okay.
This is what I will say. I look at where the current price is, and I
Fired
look
up
at
today, by the way.
yeah, and I can tell. And I didn't even do anything to you
No.
to like do that. I look at the current price today, and I look at the GSR, which is gold silver ratio, still stands right now at about
God.
57. If we look back at what I think now being that we have entered, I believe, what will become probably the strongest gold silver bull run that we've seen. But if we look at the GSR now at around 57, and we look back to the last kind of bull runs that we've seen in 2011, the GSR stood at roughly just over 30. So right now, that would put us, where would that put us right now at a GSR of 30?
Put us at
Let's
lot.
see. Well, that's, so we have what, 40, call it 44.50 divided by 30.
100.
Puts us at 148. Okay, not bad. Which is what it was in 2011. If we go back to,
And by the way, in 7 months earlier in mid 2010, it was 85-1. The second time in human history had been that high.
which by the way is when you actually did the
That's
swap.
the first time I ever
Correct.
did it. Yeah.
If we go back to 1980, the GSR was less. So if we then look back at in 2011, what the metals or silver and gold to the S&P, you're probably talking then at a ratio of, I forget the number was, I think Ball Guy Money did it. Bottom line is, if we go back to 1980 and we look at the ratio between the metals, or silver in particular, to the S&P values, I think it was close to around 2,300 to now. So that's a little far-fetched, but of course, my name's not Andy Schectman, so I can go out on a limb and say whatever my price prediction is. I was close last year saying north of 60 or 60 to 70, which that was right. I think that in 26, we will cross the $220 level. That's what I believe.
Well, I may retire if that's the case.
I think that, as we were talking about before, selling begets selling. I think that buying begets buying. And I think that there's going to be a situation, an impetus where we're going to see a lot more of what we saw on December 30th. We're going to wake up and we're going to see moves of $7, $10, $12. And now I don't, when Micron, Nvidia, Amazon, Microsoft, when all these companies are opening up 10, 12, 15, 20, 30 points, no one says a word.
That's the point.
Right?
It's just it's biased.
Right.
And
But if silver does it or gold does it, it's crazy. It's got to be manipulated. Now all of a sudden it's being manipulated on the buy side. Right.
It's tiring to me. These people will never get it ever, and it's hey,
it is what it is. Look,
what
you can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink, but I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people out there that are extremely, I mean, the phone calls, the cards, the notes that we received at the end of the year thanking us for literally changing lives from a monetary standpoint was very touching. I mean,
I've never been so blown away ever, actually.
It's wonderful
lately.
So let's just get to a couple more and then we can go forward from there. Let's see. We got at P. Favada. Any possibility that Miles Franklin creates an app for tokenized gold that would incorporate storage, lending, investing, along with offerings along the lines of kinesis or monetary metals, or are they solid?
Maybe. Let's just say I'm just going to leave it at that. Maybe.
Okay. Little cryptic in there, but I kind of like it. I think I know where you're going with it. I think we've talked a little bit about it. All right. At Mike Wismer says, we have been above 70 every day since we crossed it. This is looking like a new floor. Thoughts? Margin hike or not? Looks like we have a new floor. What are your thoughts? Well, generally speaking, when you break resistance, most of the time that resistance generally then becomes your new support level. So yeah, I agree, Mike. I think that $70 number should, at least temporarily, be our new support. I know from a technical standpoint, I think many of the chartists are looking at that. So, but as Andy said, I don't think this is the run. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg of what's to come. So, all right. At OC Stacker, Andy, are naked shorts a thing of the past?
Yes, they're going to be. You're stupid as a mud wall if you're naked shorting right now. Naked shorting means you short without the metal to be able to deliver. And it worked when you're a big bank with unlimited resources to drive the paper price down. But when said counterparty says, yeah, I'm going to have delivery, thank you, I don't want your paper promises, well, we have a problem. So it's the naked shorting that is allowed, or the rehypothecation of naked shorting, where they sell this same contract over and over and over and over and over and over again, all related to one bar. It's like Bernie Madoff. My wife's dear friend from Minnesota, she used to get these huge monthly checks, huge, and they could put their kids through private school and have a massive house that they never paid down on the mortgage, and take trips to Vegas all the time and drive BMWs and live like rock stars. And then we go out to dinner one night and they come in bawling because Bernie Madoff just got arrested, because everyone said, well, you know, Bernie, the checks are nice, but I need my principal back.
Yeah.
That's when we have a problem.
The clawback.
And that's exactly what we see happening right now.
Yeah. And then, you know, I think FTX, same thing. That's how it brought the House of Cards down, the rehypothecation. So Robert Hutchinson, 8416, Andy wants to know if you can speak about the export restrictions. Eric Young said they refused a COMEX withdrawal already.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I know.
The export restrictions are basically, there were many refiners in China that would export silver, take in doré and export silver to the West. Now
you need a license.
They not only do you have to be licensed, you have to be state sponsored, and you have to have a proven track record. You have to do a certain amount, like a large amount, have 2-3 years of history doing it, and then have a license. But the state doesn't want to send it out. They're going to, I think this will become not a currency war, but a commodity war, a war on strategic elements that you need. I don't think it will be shutting off the valve completely, but that's why we're spending $7 billion to build a smelter, for this reason, because we can't be reliant on all of these other countries to refine the metal that much of it comes from the West, not just from the United States, but other places that would end up in China in the form of doré, and then it would get sent back. So yeah, they're responsible for about 70% of all the silver refining in the world. Much of it is now going to stay in China. It's a big deal.
All right. At Craig Johnson 775 says, what does this January 31st deadline mean for SLV? Any clue what
That's not SLV they're talking about.
What's
That's the JP Morgan thing, where JP Morgan said get out by January 31st.
It's probably talking about because JP Morgan is maybe the
custodian of SLV.
Right.
They're saying if you don't get out after January 31st, there'll be no more physical redemptions, just paper cash settlement.
Got it.
So, and this is a leaked memo, but it would make sense. It would, in conjunction with the other leaked memo from
Seems
Morgan
to be a lot of
Stanley.
leaked memos.
Yeah.
All right. Awake Now 711. Are dealers paying close to spot for silver? Not yet. We are not.
Some it's over, some it is, but some it's way back.
Yeah.
I mean,
the majority, I think, is predominantly still way back. I mean, we're still in backwardation, without a doubt.
which would mean it should be higher.
It should be,
It's just a
but
weird
nothing.
time. Well, let me explain. I don't mean to cut you.
No, go
But
ahead.
let me explain how I've been able to sit here and say I'll sell you junk silver, dimes, quarters, and $50, which during the pandemic were $9, $10, $11, $12 over bid. I would have paid you as much as you'll sell me. Why I've been able to buy it under spot. And this is, I've tried my best to explain it today on Liberty and Finance. I'll do it here real quick also. If I have 2 million or 3 million ounces of silver in my warehouse, which we will at any given time, we will sell the exact same corresponding amount on COMEX, right? So here's physical in my warehouse. Here's the exact same amount on COMEX. I have 3 million ounces in my warehouse. The price falls by $10. If I didn't have this here, which I sold short, I'm down. I'm out of business. I'm out $30 million. Instead, this goes down by 30 million. This goes up by 30 million. It allows me to be market neutral by selling the opposite, selling short onto COMEX, covered, not naked, because this is the cover, my inventory. And as we sell it, we unwind it. But we're constantly doing volume. So we have the ability to do this. The refiners, on the other hand, which as the price has gone higher, are taking in all this stuff, doré, jewelry, flatware, even junk silver. Now, I have told our operations for months now, buy as much of this stuff as you can get. Go out on credit and get as much. If you're able to buy it below spot, go get it all of it. I don't care. Go on margin to buy it, because what has happened is that there's 5,000 or more coin dealers around the country. Most of them don't have the checkbook that the big companies like we do, we have, or SD or JM or Atmex, and the ability to hedge. So they get rid of it. And if no one is there to take it and they're sitting on this stuff, they'll bring it to a refiner. So the refiner is loaded up on all of this stuff, right? And in order to refine something, they have to first boil out all the impurities, right? They take the impurities out. Then they turn it into what's called shot. It looks like BBs or ball bearings. And they melt that down and turn it into bars and rounds. This whole process from start to finish in a chain of working progress, stuff coming in, getting assayed, and being melted, impurities pulled out into shot, into coins, into bar, whatever. It takes time, 4, 6, 8 weeks, who knows? They have to hedge their position too. And the price is moving up faster than they're selling their finished product for. They're short, which is now inverse to a rising price. They're getting margin called, just like everyone else. And then they raise the margin limits. The refiners are getting margin called. And so they're like, I can't take any more metal. We're going to go out of business. It's going to bankrupt us. They're going to unwind our position. We cannot take any more until we sell what's already in the pipeline.
Right.
So got all this junk silver that the big houses say, fine, we'll pay you a couple bucks back a spot on. And I told my operations, buy every single ounce you can find. And that's why we've been able to do it. It's starting to turn around. And now it's, instead of being a buck back a spot, it's over spot now.
We're like 2.25 over spot on our, for the most part, on our price list. But there are a couple of things that we're doing for some good people out there. Let's keep going on, because we got a bunch of questions to get to. Is there any correlation between the metals markets and the exploding repo funds from the Fed?
Yeah, well, that would be the banks that are caught underwater, need to borrow money from the Fed.
Didn't we see last, was it last week or the week prior, that there was like an $18 billion that the Fed had to give two banks, close to $18 billion in the repo?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how much, but we've seen this going on. I know that on December 31st, $74.6 billion was borrowed from the Fed standing repo facility. That's the emergency window. That's the one that, if everything is working properly, you're not supposed to ever have to access. The one that charges a premium rate above what you could earn by just parking it at the Fed overnight. But that $75 billion, 43 of it was in mortgage-backed securities and only 31 in treasuries. Herein lies the problem. In essence, the mortgage-backed securities. So what the overnight repo market is banks lend to each other overnight, and literally overnight, and they pledge collateral. Typically, it's the pristine treasuries, but in this case, there's more of the mortgage-backed securities, which are also supposedly good enough, that are being used to borrow money. So I'm Bank of America, you're JP Morgan, and I say, listen, I need to borrow $8 billion tonight. Here are my mortgage-backed securities. I agree to buy them back. Repurchase agreement. I agree to buy them back from you tomorrow for, a little percentage above. Yeah, you know what, Kev? I don't want your, or you would say, you know what, Andy? I don't want your mortgage-backed securities, so I'm going to leave my money parked at the Fed. I'm getting out of the repo market. I don't want to do it. In other words, even for 24 hours, these banks do not trust one another's collateral or themselves, period, to get paid back efficiently without some problem. So whether it be something like that or a bank that's caught with their pants down in a rising silver market, it could very well be. What it does mean is that a big bank doesn't have the ability to come up with the funds to keep their operations moving, and what they want to pledge, like mortgage-backed securities, have no demand by the big banks even overnight.
Yeah, again, trust, big issue.
This is not a liquidity issue as much as an issue of trust.
Yep. Kevin DeBella, what's doing, Kev? Long time no see. No, long time no speak. He's got a question. What do you think spreads and premiums will look like on silver at $100?
I mean, it's if people don't wake up by $100, they never will. My guess is premiums will be very much higher. The problem with spreads, as premiums go higher, spreads go wider. Correct. Because we cannot hedge the premium. So
talk a little bit about it, because I don't know if anyone really understands it. Just in a nutshell, kind of explain that.
So during the pandemic, the premiums on Silver Eagles were $12, $13, $14 over spot, which means I was buying them for 9, 10, 11, 12 over spot. And
hold on. I got to just correct you on that. Premiums got to be almost $20 on the Eagles. We were paying 16.
Okay, well, guys. Whatever. So let's say the premium is $20. What that means is the mint doesn't, the U.S. Mint doesn't change what they sell their Eagles for. They sell them to the primary distributors for, I don't know, $2, $3 over the price of silver. And then that's it. They run out of product, right? And we can use buffaloes as an example. I mean, they ran out of gold buffaloes early this year, and they didn't make any more. And so now you have 4 or 5 or 6 primary U.S. Mint distributors that are sitting on this stuff, and they have everyone asking them for them, and the Mint doesn't have any more. So now they make the market, and they say, well, I'll tell you what, I got people begging me, willing to pay $20 over spot for it, but I'll tell you what, I'll buy it back from you for 18 over spot or 17 over spot. A larger spread, because you cannot hedge that. So let me explain what that really means. If I have 10,000 of those coins in stock, I can hedge the 10,000 ounces of silver. I cannot hedge the in essence, 200,000 in premium, because it's $20 over on 10,000 coins. I can't hedge that. There is no vehicle that allows me to hedge that. So this is how you go out of business as a company like mine. And a lot of people suffered in this industry at the end of 2024, when I think it was 24, when the banks failed. Was that 3 or 4? 23. When the banks failed, all of a sudden, the U.S. Mint, after getting so much shit from everyone saying, why is it easier to buy kangaroos from Australia or maple leafs from Canada or South African Kruger hens than it is U.S. Eagles? And I would implore everybody to go to Road to Ruta, Big Squeer's YouTube channel, and listen to the 3-part interview that he did back then with Jack Sermon, who started the Silver Eagle program. And Jack said, back then, I was told by my supervisor, and that would have been Janet Yellen, the head of the U.S. Mint, or the Treasury Secretary, to only make as few Silver Eagles as possible without creating a global backlash. Well, he got a global backlash. He said this. He said, yeah, it really made me angry because I'd been there since day one, since 1986, and they told me to do this. Well, all of a sudden they came up with 4 million Silver Eagles and threw them on the market, and premiums collapsed. I had literally had like 90,000 Silver Eagles in my warehouse that we had paid $9 over spot for, and all of a sudden I can buy them at 4 over. So I lost 90 times 5, that difference, which was not hedgeable from 4 to 9. I lost $500,000, and there's not a damn thing I could do about it. There is risks on our end of the equation too, and that's what this is that the higher the premiums go, the bigger the spread, because you can't hedge it. You can hedge the metal, but not the spread.
Yeah, and you'll notice also, generally speaking, when we're in backwardation, generally speaking, you will see a much wider spread between the bid and the ask as well. So, Javier K316I wants to know, hey Andy, when do we trade our Silver Eagles to Gold Eagles? And on top of that, I have to just kind of ask you my own question. Ordinarily, we just play a GSR. Do you think that now, given all the situation that we're kind of entangled in, and the demographic information, the economic data, what we're seeing in the markets, does the normalization of that GSR ratio, does this skew your thinking to maybe wait longer for the conversion of silver to gold, or does it remain the same?
I just think you don't have to do everything at once.
Yeah, peel the layers back of the onion,
you
right?
start doing it when it gets into the upper mid 40s. That's when you start, because for most people, that's a double.
Yeah.
Most of the people who've owned silver waiting to switch to gold bought it in the 80s to 90s to 1 over the last few years. When it gets to 45, that's a double. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
I know. I remember when when Trump announced the tariffs and the market got hit, equity markets, but the metals market got slammed. And I remember calling you saying, should I swap my gold for silver? And I think before you even answered, I did it, but I didn't do as much as I wanted to, or I thought that I should. And I know, but I remember buying silver at just over 27, because I think at that time gold was probably around 33, but 27 was a pretty good buy on silver back then, and it's panned out really well, just not as well as it should have.
What did you just
I
do?
don't know. It was just it's the
I
vibration. It's not the elbow.
Man,
it's not, because generally you'd see me go down.
Glass houses or sit on glass.
That's right. That's right. All right. Let's see. Platinum to silver ratio 29. I just literally bought the last of our platinum eagles out. I don't know if we got any more in.
I bought
them over the weekend.
I'm gonna need you to give those back to the public.
Platinum was down 16% that day, I said, this has got to be.
I bought 10 of them.
You bought them at the higher, though.
I bought them the day before it got bitch slapped.
Right. And I bought them the day they got bitch slapped. So winning.
But I got, at no extra cost, 10 MS70 PCGS that were signed by David Hall, who is the CEO of PCGS. I still got screwed, so it doesn't.
You know who gets screwed right now? I'll tell you who gets screwed. People in Washington. State of Washington re-implemented sales tax and metals today.
Yeah.
First purchase that I had with somebody, I sent the invoice. He goes, "What the hell is this tax?" I said, "Your wonderful state of Washington reimposed a sales tax."
Did Maryland do that too?
Yeah, they did it this year.
What if
in
Warch
25.
had anything to do with that?
Yeah, he probably did. No, I saw Warch this morning.
He told
actually.
me. So
Yeah. Silver's flying. I was like, thanks. I didn't no idea.
Oh, he said that to me the other day. It's had its run. I'm like, silly boy. No, he actually bought some, so he can say that. I don't. That's okay.
There's a couple of people that have still yet to drink the Kool-Aid, but boy, it tastes a lot better when it's at $75. Here's a great one, Andy. At 24 Baby Bowl. Can you get the Asian AI guy on the show?
He's AI.
He could be right here or right here.
He's not real.
Yeah. And he doesn't change his clothes either, I don't think, which we know someone else that doesn't.
Not everyone knows that, because if you've only watched a couple, you may not know, but you listen to someone, he talks when he says numbers.
Yeah.
Like $57.57 dollars.
Right. There's some hints as to how he's not speaking properly. And you'll notice it cuts off like at a certain time. Listen, a lot of what he's saying it's saying is very good and very informative.
A lot of what he's saying, some of what he's saying is not true, though.
Correct. You have to take it with a grain of salt. And
like he said, precious metals dealers are required to fill out a Form 8300 for every transaction over $10,000.
Right.
Not true.
Not true. You only have to do that if it's a cash or a cash instrument. Like banks, wires, credit cards, doesn't require that.
Money. But the same thing would be true if you went to Nordstrom and paid with $11,000 in cash, or any retail transaction with cash over 10 grand. A Form 8300 is issued. You go to Nordstrom's or Bloomingdale's or a Ford dealership or Golf Galaxy and pay over 10 grand in cash, you too can fill out a Form 8300. It has nothing to do with this industry. There is no dealer reporting when you purchase with a check or a wire or an e-check or a credit card.
So at Mixed Nuts Nation says SD was saying, a lot of SD comments tonight. SD was saying that they're experiencing challenges to find product.
It's true.
It's not just SD.
It's all of us. We all buy from the same people. The only thing, I think we have a deeper reservoir than almost anyone in the industry, because I've been doing this a lot longer than all of them. And, you know, I've been doing this for twice or three times as long as most of the companies out there. I know more people. I know the importers. I know guys like Larry.
Yeah.
I know the small and regional coin shops that I have on my speed dial that sell us everything they take in that they can't hedge and they don't want to hold. And if we can't find it, no one can find it.
All right. So I never had a problem with the AI Asian guy? I might know.
Why?
Said the Asian AI started wearing a vest today. So he's clearly watching.
Yeah.
Clearly. Like, hello, that's my thing. All right, but that's fine.
Maybe you're AI.
No, I'm not him. I mean, I might speak like him. But
Eric does. Eric has become fluent in Vietnamese. Do you know that?
yes, I did see that. And I found one of his golf balls the other day. But I think, do you have blue dot on yours?
His is blue dot.
His blue dot?
Yeah.
I saw it on 7 in the water. Didi Mao.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Didi Mao means let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, there you go. At Eric Reen, not our Eric, 6168 said, Andy, Kevin, I've seen comments on other channels regarding Miles Franklin, what a minimum order to be a customer of Miles Franklin is.
None. Zero.
Well, and
one silver eagle.
That's always been the case. That's always been the case. We have no minimums. So David Johns, 3017, where do you see the average GSR going? Up, down, or stays the same?
Down.
There you go. We're on rapid fire. I'm kind of digging this right now. All right. Focke-Wulf.
What did you
Okay.
just say?
It's Focke-Wulf. Fockee Wolf 190D. What happens on the day the COMEX or the LBMA fails to deliver? What are the immediate consequences event that will happen?
I think it would be bigger if it was on the LBMA.
You think the consequences would be worse?
Yeah, because the COMEX will cash settle, and they will just be neutered at that point. No one will ever trust them again. Price setting and trust will move eastward to Beijing, to Shanghai, rather, to St. Petersburg, to the new BRICS exchange, to Singapore, wherever. It'll move. United Arab Emirates will move fastly away from the U.S. And it will create havoc in this industry, because we can't hedge anything if that were to happen and the whole thing blows up. While we're on the subject real quick of the BRICS, I just wanted to real quick mention that something that I've never seen before. And I always thought in my mind it would happen, but they always said, no, we're not. This is not who we are. Nice job there. That was covert. China is about to lead the first ever military exercise under the BRICS banners here very quickly in South Africa next week. And it includes Russia and Iran. And what's unusual is until now, BRICS was mostly economic, but this changes that. They say the drills themselves are routine, but the message certainly isn't. It shows that China is using BRICS to quietly expand their military cooperation outside of the Western system. And I've always been waiting for this. I had a feeling you add into it the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. They're all largely connected. That's the largest regional military organization in the world, and economic. But anyways, the point is this isn't just a naval exercise, Kevin. In my mind, it's BRICS starting to test the waters, so to speak. What it would look like outside of the U.S.-led order with strong military. You're talking 3 of the 4 largest nuclear arsenals on the planet, right? Between China and Russia and India. They're now doing joint military exercises. You can see that this is becoming, little by little, a bigger thing.
Yeah.
And all of the people that poo-pooed it all the way around, I think just don't have patience or the ability to set their own bias aside and look deeply into the future and say, where does this go? This is, I think, a snapshot of what you can expect to see.
Mention India. India just, I think recently, I don't know if we talked about it here, in terms of silver, they just actually started allowing silver to be purchased in retirement funds in India.
I didn't see that one. I did see that they were using it as collateral.
Yeah, and that they can purchase it in retirement funds, which is pretty big. David Larrabee, in kind of piggybacking what we were talking about with Washington, Andy, as of January 1st, Washington State now charges, it's actually 10.3%. Talk about egregious.
What is 10.3%?
Their sales tax on metals.
Who is?
Washington.
That's ridiculous.
10.3%. That's insanity. But the question is, if I buy gold from Miles Franklin and have it stored at a Brinks facility outside of Washington, can I avoid sales tax? Yes, as a matter of fact, you can purchase metals from Miles Franklin or any other dealer for that matter, and send it to a depository that is outside of your state. The sales tax is determined by where we are shipping metals. So if we send it to whether it's Brinks Salt Lake or Brinks Los Angeles, New York City, Dallas, Texas, any one of those facilities, you will not be charged sales tax. So to
It's
answer
a
that
point of
question,
destination, meaning
That's
if we
right.
ship it into the state, we are
Right.
obliged to charge you tax.
yeah, and if you shipped it to California to a relative, you can do that as well. And
Now there is something called use tax. It's probably hardly ever used, but check it out. It
Yeah.
means if you buy it and bring it back into your state, technically, but no one's going to charge you the sales tax.
somebody wants to know if Credit Suisse did Credit Suisse go down partly from shorting silver?
No, not that I know of. Maybe I know that. Hang on, sorry.
Oh, oh my God.
I know that Bear Stearns did.
Yeah.
So your father-in-law's old stomping ground.
Yeah.
Bear Stearns went bankrupt partially because that's the Chris Marcus interview with Bart Chilton. Also did the same one with my good buddy Andrew McGuire. Same thing where Bart Chilton admitted that's one of the largest reasons Bear Stearns collapsed.
So one of our we're gonna be at 7. Yeah,
we gotta go.
I know 10 to 7. Look, just Russ Stone, my buddy Russ, has a question with regard to. He said, "Ask Andy about who owns stock in the Federal Reserve."
Well, I think it's the banks like Citibank and JP
right.
Morgan, and
there's no real way of finding that out, is there? Like that what the makeup of the Fed it really is. We still don't really know.
You know what? The first little by little I ever did was with G. Edward Griffin, and he's getting old. He's in his 90s. I'll give him a call and I'll ask him that.
Yeah,
maybe I can find that out before the next meeting or the next podcast.
So let's just get a couple more on, and then we got to go because I know we have.
Who are you calling a moron?
Who? What?
You said a couple of moron.
No, couple. Yeah.
Look at you can't even speak.
David Lee Bayless. Miles Franklin offered us the best buyback deal. Yeah, generally speaking, we do. We scour the internet daily. We are very proud of the fact that most of the time, we can't guarantee it, but most of the time we do offer very, very competitive buyback rates. And we are very proud of that fact. So if in fact you do have metal that you either want or need to sell back to us, give us a holler, info@milesfranklin.com, and one of our very educated brokers will get back. There is a little bit of a wait, so just bear with us.
Which bothers me.
I know, but please realize we have been getting thousands upon thousands of orders.
Like I do, like you do. No excuse.
Forget how hard I work. We have a back office, and just understand this, that we are in a business that doesn't allow us to just hire anybody on a temporary basis. You know that. We deal in millions and millions
and millions
of dollars. You want to
piss someone off, bring someone on that doesn't know how to answer a question properly.
I got it, but listen.
That's why you can't do it. I get it. That was actually the best explanation I've ever heard. Way to go.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, so let's see. We got a couple more.
Should we just stay here all night?
Why not?
Right? I've been here 12 hours already. So
someone says, great interview with Gareth. He stated that the increase in retail purchases were a major contributor to the dramatic rise in spot on the day it shot up $7 an ounce. That's not true at all, right?
I don't think that the
retail
has squat to do with anything.
Zero.
But I think it will. It will be the blow off kind of thing. But the rise in the price of gold and silver has been through, look at the size of the deliveries into COMEX. I mean, you don't have to go any further than that. The most well-funded, well-informed traders in the world are bleeding dry the exchanges. Believe it or not. Like I said, who has a kind of bread to buy 18 million ounces of silver in the first 3 days of delivery? I mean, ask yourself that. What's 18 million, Kevin, times 75?
18 million times 75.
1 point what billion?
1.35.
Yeah, so $1.350 million worth of silver stood for delivery in just the first 3 days. Now, Doesn't mean it left Comex. A lot of it did. Some of it did. Some of it stayed in the eligible category, not for sale any longer, registered. But this has been every month. These people at that level do not do these things for shits and giggles. These people are up here. These people are probably the people up here just wearing a different hat, or their brother-in-law, or their friend. You might want to buy a whole bunch of silver, they would say. I don't know. I'm just saying that. That's the kind of stuff that goes on at that level. And if you don't think so, I got a bridge to sell you.
So, all right, real quickly, I want to put one more up because this one is probably the best one that I've seen tonight. And I think we're going to call it on this one. At Bo Roberts 3250 says, rumor has it that the Asian AI guy is Andy Schectman in disguise.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I think it's
someone. I could see the resemblance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a couple of drinks and my eyes will close, and I have a hard time
saying numbers.
I actually have Asian heritage in my family, so I actually have a few drinks and I will look part and parcel.
I've seen that a little bit.
Yeah, but there is Chinese in let's just put it that way.
So just to kind of tell everybody what's going on here, because I'm getting Father Duck. He says all the stores in Central Florida have almost next to nothing on inventory. Yeah, listen, we've been saying this for a long time. We've been pounding the table. I know, but listen, I don't know what everybody expects. There is such little amount of metal out there as an investable asset relative to everything else that's there. And on the physical side, what did you think? I mean, how much inventory do you think mom and pop coin shops can actually
not only that, as the price has gone higher, these mom and pop coin shops
have been selling.
Not only that, they're getting a call from their insurance and say, listen, you don't have enough. You need to expand
100%.
your insurance, and we need to come and you need to upgrade your security system. You're gonna need to hire some security.
And if you don't, we're canceling your policy.
Put a man trap door lock where one door opens and before you can't open the next one until the one closes behind you. That's what's happening. And then the cost of insurance and the cost of postage and everything.
Cost to carry.
And the cost to carry. I mean, you want to hold an inventory, when you started a few years back, a tube of Gold Eagles was what?
Let's look,
$34,000.
Yeah, $34,000.
And now a tube
now
of
you
Gold
can't
Eagles
ship it.
is
Now we can't
90,000.
ship. We cannot ship one tube of Gold Eagles in one package.
Why?
We cannot. We have insurance limitations.
Of what?
Of what the limitation is?
Yeah.
Roughly maximum, no matter what, 75,000.
That's got to change.
There's only one exception: Kilo Gold. That's it. They have become very, very strict. I just did a quote for buyback here with 225 Gold Eagles. Guy's buying a very big parcel of property. It's going to take him 15 packages.
That's just wrong. That's the point. It's this business is getting very difficult.
But listen, what leg do we have to stand on? We don't. That's the problem. Is that the insurance companies, they dictate policy.
Are you kidding me?
It's him again.
No.
What?
Oh, it is him again.
It's him again. I saw it.
I know.
I saw it. Listen, I'm just gonna beg. I'm gonna beg right now.
Who is it?
I'm gonna beg anyone out there, for people that have some issues with whether it be an order, whether it be a delivery.
Oh my God, he is.
Something that's very minute or minuscule, I beg you, please have some grace with us. We are going through a extraordinarily difficult time with regard to an exorbitant amount of people that want to buy metals, that we don't necessarily have all the product at hand for to deliver right away. We are short manpower for all the orders coming in for the back office. Give us a little bit of grace to try and get to you. We will. I promise you, every single thing will get handled in time, but just begging for a little bit of grace. And I hope those out there that are listening, please understand. I think you know who you are. Just work with us within the confines of what we can do.
I can't believe there was another email he sent. I mean, it's just beyond me.
And like I said, it's just a little bit of grace. But on that note, I wanted to tell everyone. No, not sing. Well, I want to sing your praise. I want to sing your praise. We're my favorite was Tim
Conway.
Conway was the
Yeah,
greatest on his knees with the
yeah,
shoes, the
yeah.
greatest thing ever. But giving everyone an update, we are very, very, very close to that 100,000 subs.
Right?
We are at 98.7 thousand subscribers. So I'm going to beg again. We are 1,300 short of our goal.
That's good math.
For 26.
Way to go.
Not for all of 26, but we wanted to do it coming into 26. We kind of missed it, but I will tell you that yes, Andy has been extraordinarily generous, and Andy
Now
wants
it's
to
way more
continue.
expensive.
Yes, it is. It's more expensive, but we can still do. Doesn't have to be gold. It could be the white metal. And by the way, nobody wants that.
How about a date?
How about a vest?
How about we give Kevin away?
Really? You want to give me away?
Yes.
Really? I don't think so.
Do you
I
just
think-
like being the voice off stage?
Yeah,
that
it's-
no one
it's-
ever
it's right.
sees.
It's so in any case, please tell your friends,
Remember
tell your
Charlie's
family.
Angel? Did we ever see Charlie? We never saw.
Never saw Charlie.
God, I saw.
And
the
you know what?
Angels,
What's
though.
the other
I
one
was in
that
love
what
with
was
the
the other one
Angels.
that Tim Allen, where he was always over the fence,
Yeah.
where he was like this, you never saw his full
Home
face.
Improvement.
Home Improvement. But we're 1,300 away, so we are going to have a little bit of a party, a celebration when we hit 100,000
Vegas?
subs. Wherever you
Vegas.
tell me.
Let's go to Vegas and we'll take 10 people with us.
You tell me wherever we're going. But we are going to do something special for everybody out there who have helped us
Only
get
pretty girls.
to where we are. 100,000 subscribers. We're real close. I'd love to come back a week from today and have that celebration happen then. I think that would be pretty cool.
Wear white tux.
I will do whatever you tell me to do for the 100,000. You want me to wear a white tux like tattoo, like Hervé?
Oh my God.
I will do that.
Wait,
and he's
wait.
gonna show it. Do we get a close up on the newest one that you did?
The newest one. Is
Okay, go ahead.
beautiful.
I'm very proud of it. Can we get, was it camera one?
Wait, I got to find it first. And
Camera two.
I know. Well, camera one's to Andy. Yeah, that's one.
I think I sent it in the.
Oh, I know you sent it in the cool
Yeah.
with the Meisner. I think I
Where
probably
is
have it.
that?
I think I
You
got
got to
it.
show
I
that.
think I
It's
got
just
it.
beautiful.
I think I got it. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. All right. So can we get a real close up of this, Anna? Can we get that?
I don't know if she can do it from there.
Can you do it from where you are?
No, I don't think so. Can you just get up and go put it up there?
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
Unhook yourself.
Oh, yeah. Give me one
This
second.
is how we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, this is going to be the.
I
farewell.
made this, and I laughed so damn hard I literally spit water out my nose, and I mean it was. And there's no one around me. I'm laughing
All right,
so
you
hard.
tell me. Am I going to camera 2? Is that where I'm going? Camera 2?
No,
Which
look,
one?
there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. You tell me.
Yeah.
Hold on. Can we
For
focus?
some reason, it's.
Can I want to change this.
Yeah, you can't.
To a different camera.
There it is. I don't know if you can do it. You know, we're better off doing taking a snapshot and doing it. But it is Mr. Rourke and Tattoo, aka me, with my face and Andy's face superimposed on there, which we will do for 100,000
God, it's so good.
Right? We will do
Someone
that.
just said his mic is coming off. Joy.
Mine?
That's not nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's not nice. Hey, let's get rid of that guy. Hold on.
right.
Now I'm booting him out.
No, you're not.
Oh, I am.
You have to have
Booting him
thick
out.
skin. All right, goodbye, everybody. I've been here for 11 and a half
We will
hours.
be back on Monday, a week from today. Smash the like button. Tell your friends. Tell your family. And
God bless.
God bless. We will see you a week from tonight. Good night, all.
Well done, Tattoo.
30